I know it's 2022 and we're all modern day women and modern day people and modern day thinkers, but like also... Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I haven't done one of these sit down life update videos in a while, but I've been receiving a lot of DMs, a lot of questions on my social media, so I thought it would be a good opportunity to sit down and fill you in on what's been going on while I have some time in my trailer on my new movie set. I am in Victoria, BC, filming a movie. I don't know how much I can tell you about what it is, but it's something that is familiar to a lot of people, and I think you're going to be happy around the winter time seeing this on your TV screens. In gearing up for this experience, I was appreciative of the opportunity and excited for what the opportunity would allow us to do as a family moving forward. But I was also really dreading the experience for multiple reasons, but reason number one, first and foremost, how the kids were going to cope with having me working long days on set. Josh was used to what those days felt like, but my kids have never experienced that. I decided when I had Bo that I did not want to go back to set. I didn't want to go back to working 16, 17-hour days away from her if I could avoid it. And that's when I really started to lean into social media and being a content creator. And I have busted my ass over the past 5 years to build a career as a content creator that still provided for my family, but allowed me the flexibility to be creative and fulfill my creative passions from home. I am excited to start teaching other creatives all of the tricks of the trade and how I've built this career for myself. So much about having success as a creative comes down to literally waiting for opportunity to knock at your door. And with content creation, it puts the power back in your hands. But yeah, when this opportunity came up, it was something that's come up a few times over the past few years, and I've always passed on it because timing never felt right. But we had some goals in mind for our family, and I was like, you know what? That opportunity would help us reach those goals quicker. And I think I might be ready to dive back in the deep end. One of the things that needed to get taken care of in my mind before I could go and do this was weaning my baby boy, Kingsley. First of all, fed is best. I'm going to put that out there. I consider my ability to breastfeed my babies to be a privilege. Something that I really didn't know how I was even going to feel about. I didn't even know if I was going to choose to breastfeed before I had Bowie. And when I did, it was like magic happened. I always had a really quite an easy time breastfeeding, and that is a privilege and one that I was super grateful for. So I had an incredibly positive breastfeeding journey with both of my kids. But with King, we decided to forego pumping. I didn't do any formula or anything like that, and I just exclusively breastfed him because he's probably going to be my last kid, and I was just happy to soak up all of that time with him and soak up that experience because it might be my last time ever doing it. And I work from home, so I had the luxury of being able to do that with him. At this age, it was more about comfort. He really relied on me and the boob to comfort him when he was upset or to help him fall back asleep when he would wake up. And I knew that there would be some night shoots, and like my schedule just is really in the hands of production once I start a film. But it was really hard for me mentally because I felt like, you know, that was my major tie to him. That was a huge part of our bond. I questioned whether or not our bond was still there once he started being able to be comforted by Josh, which was what I wanted in the first place. But once it started to happen and like I wasn't the go-to gal for him anymore in the same way, it was really hard for me. I knew I was making the best decision for my family. And if you have other opinions about that, please keep it to yourself instead of sharing that in the comments below, because what's right for you and your family or what you would do in my situation is irrelevant. And while we are on the topic of weaning Kingsley, I thought it would be a good opportunity to introduce today's video sponsor, Natural Cycles. Almost like clockwork, just weeks after successfully weaning Kingsley, my cycle kicked back into high gear while on set. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't miss her. As we all know, no form of birth control is 100% effective, even a vasectomy. If you watch my vlog where I found out I was pregnant with Kingsley, then you will know I know this very personally. And that's why I am still using the Natural Cycles app to track my cycle and make sure we do not become a family of 5. You can enter your temperature and fill out information about how your body is feeling on any given day to track when you are fertile and when you are not. So red days are fertile days, green days are not. This can work for preventing pregnancy, but also for family planning if you are looking to add a little baby to your family. No hormones, no invasive procedures, just knowing exactly what's going on with your body at what time with the help of Natural Cycles. If you guys want to try out the Natural Cycles app for yourself, make sure you click the link in the video description below and get in tune with your body today. Now let's get back to chatting. So many women DM'd me asking about how to wean, how did I do it, blah, 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 because it's a challenge that they're facing or that they're anxious about because they know that moment is upcoming for them. I started by dropping his morning feed because I found breakfast time to be the time that he was most inclined to actually eat a ton of solid food. He loves breakfast. So that was the first one that I dropped. He honestly didn't even notice that. And so I was like, okay, cool. And then I was like, okay, now we got to tackle the midday one, because the midday one is the one where he really relies on me to get him down for that afternoon nap by nursing. I moved on to it literally within a day. So I dropped the morning feed, and then the next day it did it again. And I was like, okay, this afternoon I'm going to try and drop the afternoon feed. And that one was a bit tougher. I had to really emotionally just power through him fussing and turning and blah, 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 and really trying to navigate, get to my boob. And I was like, no, dude, it's not happening today. And he eventually caved, but literally by the next day, he was good to go on the afternoon one. He didn't fuss too much. Then came the middle of the night. The middle of the night feeds were the harder ones. Sometimes he would wake up every 45 to 90 minutes, and I knew it wasn't because he was hungry. I knew it was just because he was relying on my boob for comfort. And I was like, damn it, I've got to cut these because I'm exhausted. I'm getting no sleep. He must be exhausted. He's getting no sleep. And he's not even hungry. He's not even eating. He's just using me as a human pacifier at this point. What I will say, tip number 1, is once you cut a feed, do not go back. Do not go back. You cannot go backwards because it will be so much harder to move forwards. We had already booked the RV trip and we moved ahead with it. And I was I had just started to cut his middle of the night feeds, and he was doing so much better. He was only waking up once or twice instead of every 90 minutes. So that was already great. But then we were so tired the first night in the RV that I didn't even notice. When I woke up around 1:32, I had whacked him on my boob. I was lying there half asleep with Kingsley on my boob, and Josh rolled over and was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm feeding him. And he was like, why? And I was like, shit. Yeah. So the next night when I didn't give him the boob in the middle of the night, it had me questioning whether or not we should continue on the RV trip altogether. That boy cried. I was rocking him for a solid hour and a half, and he's a heavy kid. He's 25 pounds. I couldn't even pass him off to Josh for Josh to take over because he would wake up and start crying like he just wanted me. And I was honestly in tears because I was just questioning everything. I was like, should we go home? This RV trip isn't gonna happen. Should I be doing this movie? What am I doing? Oh my God, how am I doing this to him? And I was a mess. I was a mess. But we got through it. I persevered. I did not give in. And the next night, boom, he was amazing. He only woke up once, rocked him back to sleep within 10 minutes. And then he actually slept through the whole night for the first time ever in his life the following night. So I let that go on for the remaining, maybe 10 days of the RV trip. And I just, no middle of the night feeds, still one feed left at bedtime because everyone told me that's the hardest one to cut and it's a big part of his bedtime routine. So I waited until we were back home in the comforts of our own house and not sharing a very tiny space with Bowie, who's also trying to get down to sleep at the same time. And I nursed him once when we got home, and I could just tell he didn't really need it. And it was so quick, it was really short, and then he was still awake, but I rocked him to sleep and he was fine. And then I just knew in my heart that was it. That was the last time I'm ever gonna nurse Kingsley. And the next night I just was rocking him and he was starting to go already, and I was like, he's not even looking for it, so I'm just gonna keep doing this and see what happens. And he fell asleep. in like 10, 15 minutes, no boob. And that was it. That was officially it. I knew that, yeah, we were done. So my tips for, successfully weaning is, like I said, give yourself time if you have the luxury of time. If not, try and like pick a schedule and stick to it, because it really is just about willpower on everyone's side. So just trust that you're doing the right thing at the right time for your family, and it'll get you through those kind of more challenging moments. If you're able to have somebody else put them down to sleep, because I know babies, we often end up just by habit and routine associating their nursing with sleep. So if you can have somebody else put them down to sleep, they won't be searching for the boob in the same way as if it were you putting them down to sleep, just not giving them the boob. So I got that tip a lot from people. I didn't really end up trying that much myself because it was an easier transition than I expected. And then, yeah, if you take a step forward and you drop a feed, don't go back, because it's going to be twice as hard to drop the feed again. And it was definitely the right choice for us, because coming here and spending such long hours away from the babies, Josh has been super dad in stepping in and taking over all of the responsibilities. And I, am hopeful that I did everything in my power to set him up for as much success as possible in my absence. Shout out to Daddy-O Beech. Again, I've been praising him on my Instagram every day, and I get emotional even just thinking about it. But walking into this experience, I knew how hard of a time emotionally I was going to have, because I was anxious about how emotionally hard of a time the kids were going to have without me at their fingertips all day, every day. And he knew that, and he was just like, I just want you to know, I got this. We're all going to be fine. And I'm going to do everything in my power to make this as easy on you as possible. He has been incredible. He has not complained. He hasn't said, oh, this was so hard. Oh, she cried today. Oh, nothing. He doesn't want anything weighing on my conscience, because he knows that I'm doing what I'm doing right now for our family. And he reminds me of that all the time. And he's just been my biggest cheerleader and being go kill it. Don't worry about us. We got this. It's been incredible, because I do feel guilty in moments. I know they're long days. I know it's a lot on his shoulders. If the roles were reversed, I would be a freaking hot mess, I'm sure, running after the two kids all day. But we're different people, and Josh, he walks through life with just this constant sense of gratitude, and always being aware of how beautiful the present moment is. And it's something I admire so much about him, and that's exactly what he's taken with him into this experience. And he's they're amazing kids. I'm so lucky. I'm so grateful. And God, it's just been a blessing. I know it's 2022 and we're all modern day women and modern day people and modern day thinkers, but also there is, a lot about traditional gender stereotypes that we still carry with us into, the modern world. And one of those things is that, I get comments all the time on YouTube, wow, he's such an amazing hands-on dad. And he totally is. But whenever he sees those comments, he's like, what? They're my kids. What does hands-on dad mean? Society conditions us to think that it's, just such an amazing thing when a man steps up and takes care of his kids as responsibly as a woman would. But, we've always broken gender stereotypes in our relationship and in our household. And, this is just one of those situations, and I just fucking love that guy, man. I love him so much. I know how lucky I am, before everybody shoots off in the comments. Yes, comment below how great of a guy Josh is, because he is the best. But don't think I don't know how lucky I am. Can we just, try and make this the standard on a go forward? Relationships, families, it's all about compromise and teamwork. And that is what this past couple of weeks and the next couple of weeks are really just such an incredible example of. This is what we do, me and Josh, and this is why we work so well, is where the other one is lacking, or the other one is struggling, or the other one needs something or whatever, the other just steps up. And it's made this whole experience a wonderful thing. let's talk about that. Like everyone, when I was like, I'm so anxious going back to work, everyone was like, you got this, girl, you're gonna do great. They hired you for a reason. I'm like, I appreciate all of those like well wishes, but like I actually wasn't lacking confidence in like doing the job. I was lacking confidence in like, how's my family gonna be without me, and oh, I'm gonna miss them and all that kind of stuff. But then, the day before we started filming, I had this like the night before we started filming, I was like, oh fuck. Like, I'm getting all of these messages from people being like, you got this, break legs tomorrow, you're gonna do great. And I was like, I haven't even considered that I might not do great. Like, I didn't, because I've been doing this for so long, but I also haven't been doing it for so long. Like 5 years is a long time. I'm like, I hope it's like riding a bike. I'm kind of nervous now. Like, I haven't had to memorize lines, and I'm surrounded by a crew of like 50 to 100 people who are looking at me, waiting for me to deliver the right line and hit my mark and all that kind of stuff. Like, I haven't had to do that in so long. Like, will I remember how to do it? And I showed up on set. I literally have the best crew ever, the youngest crew that I've ever worked with, which is so cool because duh, young people are so creative and wildly talented. Why wouldn't we have younger people in these crews? But I've never worked with camera operators this young before. And the cast is amazing. My director is probably the favorite director I've ever worked with. And it's just been the most warm and welcoming set environment. And my first scene up, I was like a little bit of a robot because I really felt like I had like rust to work out. And then after that first scene was under my belt, I was like, and she's back, ladies and gentlemen. Like, I got this. Of course I know how to do this. I've been doing this since I was 13. So it felt really good. I'm in a place of just like immense gratitude for absolutely every part of this equation that's happening right now. And yeah, I feel a lot better about being back on the acting game than I thought I would. I mean, I never even thought I'd necessarily end up back here. Thank you guys so much for following along on this channel. This is my passion project. This is my baby, but I will be acting again on your TV screens real soon. So if you follow me because you were a fan of me as an actor, then I finally will have something for you real soon, and I couldn't be more happy about it. So thank you so much. Subscribe, and I will see you next week. Mwah!